Today, although I feel like I still have all my winter things, I think everyone's kind of getting ready for plein air that has done plein air before. And people that have not tried it, it's good. I think spring's an ideal time to start it. You're not dealing with the heat, you're not dealing with the Cape, you're not dealing with parking restrictions or crowded areas. You have the sun is a little bit more accommodating this time of year, so you don't have that heat or that really strong light. So, plein air in the spring, and the fall too, it's really is ideal. But well, every season would be lovely if the weather would cooperate. Um, so the idea for today is I am going to show you three different types of easels that I have had or that I use. And I set up this one here first, and this is the French easel. And the French easel is probably the most common one that you'll see out, and it's also the most affordable. This is a full French easel. A half French easel, this area here is smaller, which in turn then the bottom of the box is smaller. It is heavy, which is why a lot of people do go, the full French easel is heavy. So a lot of people do go for the half French. And if you're not sure about an easel, it's a really good way of starting because, it is affordable. The resale on them, you can, turn around, whether it's a art garage sale. I know a lot of centers have garage sales where people bring things and they sell them. I mean, you're not going to get your full money back, but you can get, a nice amount on them. And they are sturdy, they last a while. There's a couple of things about French easels that for pastel painters make it a little bit more difficult. One of them is there is no place to put your pastel box out. We're just going to use this one. I'm not even going to open it, but there's no place to put your pastel box. You can put a box behind here, but that is really not, it's not an efficient way of painting. You want to have your pastels so that you can see them. Now, what you can do is there is a shelf here, and it actually is a drawer with places to put things. I would never advise anyone unless they have redesigned this drawer so that your pastels don't rattle around. I wouldn't advise putting pastels in there unless they're in boxes, and there's not a lot of space. I don't even think, no, I can't pull it all the way out, but you can see there's not a lot of space in there. This is great for, your sketching materials, if you're using underpainting, the containers, the brushes, anything at all like that. And if you get in there and you're clever and you can figure out a way to make it pastel friendly, it would be a great drawer. When I first started doing pastel painting, plein air, what I did is I had my French easel and I had a TV tray that I borrowed from somebody. And I had the TV tray next to me and I put my pastels on and at that point I was painting out of boxes. I had boxes of pastels that I had. I didn't actually have a palette box. And that worked out fine. So as for pastelists, I would say you just need some place to put your pastels. The other thing with this one is depending on the surface that you are standing on, and a lot of times plein air, you don't, the tarmac's nice and even, but when you're out in the rough, whether it's grass or a path, sand on the Cape, rocky area, the legs here do adjust, but I find them very awkward, and they're also a little bit flimsy. So this shakes quite easily, which is another reason I wasn't crazy about it. People do love it. So I really think it depends on what you're looking for, where you're going to be painting, and how much. Are you going to be painting where you're just walking this from the car? Who cares how much it weighs if you just have to walk a little ways and you're going to set it up? But you want to do bear that in mind when you're you know, investigating easels. Like I said, you can find secondhand ones of these all over the place. I set it up ahead of time and started with this one, because it's the most affordable, and two, because it takes the longest to set up. It could be because I don't use it a lot. Well, actually, I haven't used it at all in probably the last 10 or so years, but I hang on to it in case when people go out painting with me, if they need to borrow one, you know, they can borrow this. But is there anyone, you know, out there that actually has some recommendations for how to make the house more user-friendly for pastels? Has anyone used one? They want to share any suggestions? No one? Okay. One of the things that's really handy about it, talking about not pastels, is that this here does lower. There's these little screws on the side. You can just lower it. And if you were a watercolorist and you wanted to paint flat, you then have a flat surface. What happens though is you are dealing with the framework that holds your, that's why I have this here, so you can see, this is where you would, you know, keep your board or your canvas. This does adjust, this only adjusts so far. This is the lowest it adjusts, but if you're painting big, it goes up higher. This holds your canvas. So that's it, but you can jerry rig that really easy, and I know some of you are really clever and you come up with all these great ideas to do with. But you could come in, you could build some sort of platform here, lightweight, it's already heavy. So whatever you're gonna add to this, you know, even on location, you wanna make sure it's lightweight, because this is the heaviest. It's also the most awkward of the three of them I'm gonna show you to carry too. But anyway, so this is the full French easel. Nice and reliable, great first time easel. The other thing that's really nice about it, because I've talked semi-negatively about it, that's from my perspective as a pastel painter, but is that it's great for indoors. Okay. You know, so if
It's
somebody,
what was that?
It's great for indoors. So if you need an easel inside, and then you are going to take it outside, this one does not take up much space inside. You can, you know, I wasn't able to set the camera up so you could see the spread of the legs, but the spread of the legs here are just a little bit farther out from here. And the back leg here probably does go out another 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet behind. So, but you could easily, you know, have this in a house, and it, you'll see the next one takes up less room. The last one takes up a lot of room indoors. So
Betsy, you're the Vanna White of easels.
they're the Vanna White of easels. Well, you know what's happened is as I've gone along with my plein air and my studio painting, my materials have shifted to suit myself, or my supplies, my equipment. And so I don't want to talk, you know, as if this is definitely a worthwhile easel, but if you really like plein air painting, the next two I think actually work out, you know, much better for plein air artists, and I'll show you why. Okay, any questions on this guy here? We've got everything all organized, so hopefully this all goes smoothly. I'm just going to move this over here. This is my little tiny studio. So nobody's coming in or out of this door over here. Okay. The next easel that is, it definitely winds up being pricier. But it's absolutely a wonderful combination. And there are a lot of different easels besides these three I'm showing you, okay? But these are what I have, so this is what you're gonna see. So this is a tripod. And again, some of this I've just kind of prepped it so that, you know, I've opened it up ahead of time. But it all fits in this shoulder strap bag here. So, you know, you've got a nice size, you know, you can sling it over your shoulder. This is not as heavy as that, what I just showed you, but you do have to carry a couple extra things, but guess what? You gotta carry the same things with that. Suggestion with the easels, that if you're using it, the tripod, is make sure you check the capacity weight for the tripod. Because there are some inexpensive tripods out there, but what you are doing is you are putting a box that has a hefty weight to it on there. So you wanna, whatever size box, I have never used this large one. Oops, something's gonna fall off. I've never used this large one on here because I use this exclusively for the next easel I'm gonna show you. This is my, the easel that when I'm traveling or I'm going on a plane and I actually want to bring my plein air equipment, this is what I bring. And what's really nice about this is when I retired, they collected money and they gave me money and I bought myself this and I bought myself this and an umbrella. So like I was all ready for retirement and I was very happy to get that money. So the main thing with your tripod, check the weight, check that the legs, you know, like these are really sturdy legs here, okay? So this here is a weight bag. And what you do with that is if you are in a location that is slightly windy, and I say slightly because it's amazing, it can be breaths of wind that can knock things over, because a lot of times you're painting on a board can act like a sail. So you put rocks, you know, anything heavyweight in here. Sometimes on places and there is nothing heavy to put in there. I'm not going to carry rocks out there and there's no rocks in the, you know, around. So I'll just take and I'll put my bag or something else that's heavy in there. Even, you know, your water bottles you can stick in there. Just add something to weight it down. But that is a little handy. That's some, I believe that's a add-on. I don't think it comes with it anymore, but you can buy it separately, and the inside of mine's all wrecked up now. So you just adjust it to your height. I adjust mine. I know that this is fully extended right here, and this one, it's always just the length of my hand and my palm, so I know I go around and I have them all the same. I always make sure I have my little, gosh, what's that, that elbow, the little screw thing. Allen wrench? Is that?
Butterfly nut.
Oh, geez. Can't remember what it's called. But anyway, I have one. So just in case I have trouble with anything. Spread that out. This takes up probably a little less room than that one. It feels like it's a little bit more because it's weighted right through the center, so it's equal weight all the way around. So this is very sturdy. The first one I showed you, it's 2 legs in the front, 1 in the back, which I think probably gives it that little bit of precarious nature to it. But anyway, so that's set up. What you do with this one, I loosen the handle, I swing this around. I just have that in front of me. What's really nice is if you can see right here, I'm going to try to move forward so you can see that. That is level. So you know when you are, same as you're using a level if you're a builder, you know. So I just follow that bubble, and that little bubble, when it fits between the 2 lines there, I know that I have my, so that's what I'm doing now. So I know I have my tripod is level, the little bubble is between those 2 lines, and I tighten it. So now it's nice and tight. That's not going to move either side. There are various boxes that do have these, and I believe there might be somebody who's here tonight who actually has jerry-rigged their own box. But you know, this is a Heilman box, and it comes with, I'm not going to take it off because it takes a little bit to get it back on again. But underneath this little, this is an addition. Underneath this is a little screw hole. This just fits on top. There's a screw right there, and then you just tighten it. And then, well, I just loosened it. So there we go. Let me tighten it again. Okay, and what happens is this attachment right here is what attaches to this. So if you have a different kind of box, what you need to do is get this extra attachment for tripods. And they, you know, whether it's a camera or if you're going to, you know, one of the companies like the Heilman company, or even I got mine with, maybe the Heilman company doesn't sell it, I'm not sure. But this is a Gorilla Easel. That is Guerilla, Gorilla Easel. And tripod, sorry. So this now attaches to this right here. And if you see this here, this is in its open position, but you can close this. And when you do that, of course, I'm doing this all backwards, so. Okay, I'm not able to do that. So I'm not gonna do it, but you can open and close that, but you want that in the open position. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna slide it right in here. And I'm gonna pull that back. Okay. And then there's a little lock. I push that lock. There's a second one, which is a very little, very fine little knob, and I do that. I open the box. I now swing it around. There's two holes right here. Let me see if I can tip this. See these two holes right here? Those two holes right here create your actual easel, okay? So I'll show you how that works. I'm gonna swing this around. I'm gonna close that. Always make sure when you use these Heilmans, when you close it, because that makes it stable. If that latch is not down, it can fold. Okay, and sometimes it's amazing, you know, you use something for a while and you think everything's all right, and you want it to be as secure as possible. So it's on there. I'm just gonna double check. Yep. Inside this, where my tripod was, is the easel attachment. Now, and now I'm not trying to sell Heilman things. Again, this is just what I have. So when you buy the certain the boxes, they have these holes, and my larger one does too. Like I said, I just don't use it with this one here. So this one here, okay, there's the top. So that is where I would stick my paper, and let me turn it like this so you can see it this way. Okay, this fits into those two holes. You don't have to press down very hard. I drop that to about the height that I want, and I have my little. So this is what I took to Florida when I was in Florida, and I painted this. So then I can take and I can drop the top one, and now that makes it very secure. So that's on there. Now, this is the beauty. Remember the last one, where do you put your pastels, where you can put them on a TV tray? Pastels are all right in this box. So what I do is I take the lid off and I have my pastels right in here. I am not going to tip it to show you. Believe me, there's pastels there if you can't see them.
What would you estimate as the cost of that, Betsy? Because that's a Heilman, that box, that's probably $200 right there. Right?
It probably is.
It's not that it's not worth it, but
no, and you know, and I mean, yeah, it is. And you can, but the thing of it is there are other boxes out there on the market that you can attach to tripods. Okay, you would just have to explore, look around, see which ones do attach, or if you're gonna jerry rig up your own, you can buy the attachments, and you can, you know, you'd have to be clever. I don't know how to do it, and my guess is there's a YouTube channel out there somewhere that shows you how to do it. But the beauty of you know, I love Heilmans because you put the pastels in, and even if you have two pastels with the memory foam, nothing moves. I mean, it protects them really well. And pastels are not cheap. So you want to make sure and keep your pastels as stable as possible when you go outside, so that lifting them up and listening to them all fall down because they are now slipping into your box. So I would say if you don't have a pastel box, you can either put them in boxes with cornmeal, with a nice tight fitting lid, or you can leave them in the boxes they come with, or rearrange the boxes that have the nice foam individual slots so that the pastels can fit very nicely in those slots. And that's what I did when I first was going out and I didn't have these. Is I had an old, it must have been 30-year-old double height box of Rembrandts. And I just fit my pastels, other brands, into that, and they were all nice and secure. And then I did have another box that I bought, and it was a really nice box. It was really more suited to the studio because I must admit, every time I lifted it up, I could hear them falling. And I put air conditioning foam, the insulation part of the air conditioner, the foam that goes in there, that helped to control that to a certain amount. And then you just shook it out to clean it. But you need something that's going to compact those pastels so that they're not going to move around. Like I said, this took care of it. And this was my nice little setup, plus the umbrella, which I am not opening in the house. That is bad luck too. So this was my retirement gift. Isn't this just like fabulous? And I've used it a ton. And like I said, I really like it for those situations where I'm traveling and I can't bring the bigger set that I have. So I've gotten a lot of use. But back to the money, I kind of sidestepped the money thing, and I'll come to you in a minute, Mary Jane. Yes, this is I don't know how much it is. This is the backpack. No, this is the double sketch box. I believe that's what this is called. My guess is it probably is up. I didn't pay 200 for it, but I've had it for 10 years.
Yeah, and it's probably 250 by now, but the quality's there.
What's great, if you go on the Heilemann website, what they do is they have a comparison thing, so you can see every single one of the boxes, their, the dimensions of them, how many pastels, maybe they don't have that, but how much it costs, so on and so forth. So this is a great setup, and an umbrella fits. I often put it on the box, the pastel palette box here, but you can also, depending on what kind of easel you have, you can put it on one of the legs. So this is, any questions on this one? And Mary Jane, you had something to say?
That was my question. Where do you attach the umbrella?
Yeah, the umbrella, like I said, if it's a really if it's a windy day, I don't use an umbrella with any of my easels because I'm just not going to. Sometimes if it's a light breeze, I'll use it, but I always hang on to even my other easel. I just always hang on to it because I was in a position once where it did not seem as though it was that windy at all. And I walked away from my easel and a little gust came up and it didn't take much. It just knocked it right over.
Yeah.
So, that is one of the, but it's funny, the umbrella always seems like it's for me in the summer, but the reality of it is the umbrella is to keep the light off your painting. So if it's a really bright day, what you want to do is you want to set, this is another thing that's really cool about this. You just swing it around. Okay, you're painting over there. The sun starts moving and you just move it. Now it's in the shade. Okay. So this one here, I love this ability to be able to just shift it. Or if, let's say, you're painting something and this is another plein air. It's amazing how many times it does happen and somebody comes and plunks right in your view. So you say, oh my gosh, so I can paint the same view, but if I stand a little bit over here, well, then you can just move the whole thing around. So now you can actually see past whatever got in your way. It is fairly lightweight too. And it's really, packaging it up, it's really small. You don't need, let's see, do you need anything else? I tried to pull things out over here in case they went along with anything, but there's nothing else for this guy here. It's great, wonderful.
Betsy, excuse me, Betsy, it's Deborah. I have a question. How do you said you took it to Florida with you, this whole setup. How do you transport it?
Okay, pastels always stay with me. Okay, I'm gonna take this
Okay,
off so I can
right.
show you something. So the pastels always stay with me. And the reason for that is I do not want anyone else opening up my box with me not around. And if I check it, there is a possibility that they're curious what it is. And they
Right.
may open my suitcase. So this stays with me. Okay, this, well, by the time I have, let me just drop that. And I stick it back in this bag. This goes right in my suitcase. Because the legs all fold up and they fit in here. And the easel attachment, that fits in here too. So the whole thing is really compact. This is another one that's good for interior, you know, if you have to use something inside. And this one's even better than that one there. If you can just see the tips here. The
Uh-huh.
next easel I'm going to show you, you have to be careful because it's got something special on the legs that makes it grip into the ground, but this isn't going to damage a floor. So if I'm taking a workshop inside at a center, as much as I would like to bring my bigger easel, I more frequently bring this. And if I do bring my big easel, which is going to be the last one I show you, I always put something down so it does not scrape the floor.
And so you just keep collapsing that until it fits into your luggage.
Yeah. So
Oh,
this
that's
will,
nice. Okay.
oh, this just totally collapses right up. Each of these legs just fold right up, and then everything fits right in the bag. And I'm not going to take the other attachment, which I had my painting on, apart, because I think you can probably all picture that without me.
Oh, you don't have to do that. No, I know how that
Yeah,
works.
so that
I have
just,
one. Mhm.
there's the finished size of it, is just that.
It's amazing. Okay.
And that works out, like I said, if you're someone who you're saying, oh geez, you know, in the future, I would really like to be able to go painting. And when I go on vacation or you go visit friends or relatives, you know, that really is ideal. That's been all over the place. And this is what goes with it. And just for fun, what you do, which are harder to find nowadays, I pick up all the little stickers of places I have to have painted. And sometimes I've bought a sticker and then I never wound up painting at a location, so I don't put it down. So I've got the Grand Tetons and Hilton Head and Charleston, New York, Maine, Sebago, New Mexico, Wales, Arizona.
When you coming to Greece?
Yeah, that'd be
Good.
great, Mary J. I'll do that. Not in July or August. I understand it's pretty brutal there. But, and this is, like I said, this is a smaller one. Truthfully, this fits in your carry-on super easy. I think, you know, look at the size of that. So that is perfect. So the last one I'm going to show you is my go-to easel for plein air painting locally. And I have taken this away on trips if we're driving and there's enough room, you know, in the car. We're just going away for a couple of days or something like that and not have a whole lot of things. Okay, this is a Take-it-Easel. Okay. This has got, there's some weight to it, but it's not as awkward or as heavy as the first one. It is a little heavier than the second one that I showed you. And I opted to buy this one here. Rosalie Nadu's son Tobin sells these, and it's called Take-it-Easel. Take-it-Easel, and there are knockups out there on the market. This one, I really think I have probably had it for close to 20 years. I mean, I've had it for a really long time. And the newer model has a different attachment on the side, which I'm going to show you for opening up the legs. And it does come with a cloth brace so that you can keep it closed, but I don't know, I just switched over to using a bungee cord, but I like bungee cords, so I use them for a whole load of things, because the bungee cord for the weighted, you know, on the other one where I was showing you, you had the little pocket, you could put weights in it. I could take a bungee cord and I could wrap that bottom around my little bag that I carry with supplies in it, and that would help weigh it down too. So I use a bungee cord, and I always have extra ones with them. This is gonna be a little awkward showing you how it sets up. And some people get them and they say, oh my God, this is like such a pain in the neck. But seriously, once you figure out how to open these up, they're super easy and they're really reliable. Easily hold it. I mean, unless you have, you know, strength issues, easy to hold up. This little knob here, take it, pull it down to the height that I want. I don't want it that height because I'm in the house, so I'm gonna just drop it just a tiny bit. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna make it a little smaller, just I don't want it to go out too far. Then it's got the same two in the front. There's 3 legs, so I'm gonna open up the other leg. Go here. I'm gonna open up the other leg. This is the last one I do, is the one that's got this bar on it. I'm gonna come across, snap it. Then I lift this leg, and there is a brace. I'm gonna turn it on so you can see it. There's a
Oh,
brace
okay.
for it to go through, and it hooks. I think you can see that. See the way it hooks
Mhm.
onto the little notches there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, set that up. All these holes here are what you use to adjust it. I have used it when I'm in a really, you know, steep slope and had one leg that is, you know, a foot shorter than the other, but the whole thing winds up being level because I've adjusted the legs. So you adjust the legs. I'm gonna move this up a little bit so that you can see the brace at the bottom. Make it a little bit higher. Yeah, you can see the brace at the bottom a little bit more.
And Betsy, this is what you use, and is more effective than the others. You use it in sand or on the beach.
Yeah, I use it all over the place. I use it on every sort of surface. The most difficult surface I find to use, and I forgot to show you it, is the bottom. It's something that's similar to a nail, so it just kind of like goes into the surface, so it digs in, which is why I don't use this indoors without putting some
Right.
protection down. So once you've done this, you've got it, so it covers, you notice this, it's covering a much wider area than either of those two. But the stability is amazing because you've got a wider base, and these are very sturdy. You don't have a lot of areas for the wind to catch when it's in this position. Once you put your board down, you do have something that could act like a sail and could catch wind. But again, this is just great. So it's like, where do you put everything? This comes down. It's a 2-latch thing. Just let that fall. There's slats right here. Right here. There's a couple right here, so you can get them whatever size you want. That holds it here. Next thing, I'm just going to slide this back just a little bit so that I can think, yep, you can see that all right. Okay, so this one, a couple of things that I do. You know those pads that you can put down underneath carpet or in shelving to keep things from sliding around? I tend to put one right here. Now I try to make sure that this is as horizontal to the ground as possible, because if it's a slope, I do not want things sliding. So this is just a precaution. I used it for many years without it, and it was fine. It's just, you know, I just happened upon this. I thought, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to try that. This is the bigger of and this one, it's not going to matter what kind of box you have, because it can go very wide to contain your box. And you can even have your box going the long way too. So this is my other Heilman. This is the one that I use for everything. I always make sure the handle's on this side so it drapes over there. That's just a habit. Stick this in here. Okay, and then this is where you figure out where your leg's gonna go. So I'm gonna pick this up. Oh, let me close this. Of course, I've got a bag right in the way. Let me move that over here. Okay. I'm gonna move that a little wider. I'm gonna open it. Gonna go back in the hole right here. Now I've got, look at all that extra room in here. I don't want all that extra room. I want this nice and secure. So I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna move this in, because this acts as a buffer. These two little edges right here are catching right on these bars, these legs. So this is not gonna slide backwards. Again, I make sure and close that. There's a back one on this one. The smaller one is just one in the front. This has one in the front and back. That's not gonna go anywhere. Now, where do you put your painting? Oh, I've had to buy so many of these, it's ridiculous. They started off round. The newest batch that I bought is this nice square shape. And let's say my height, these holes, I then use it, flatten that out. I like the round ones too. I really don't have a preference either way. These I just got at the end of the season last year, try to get that fairly even so that I don't lose them. I do have my initials on the end too.
Betsy, what are those?
Those, these
Hold the board.
are the pegs that come with it.
Oh,
So when you buy, you know, this little contraption I was pulling it out here.
uh-huh.
Now the newer model has a latch that it's just a round disc and you pull it out. So you don't have these two little pressure wires to move the legs up and down. You have a button that you pull out and it moves up and down. It's all very efficient. And these are patterned off of the easels that were used by the Gloucester artists from the late 1800s, early 1900s. And, you know, Tobin has just modernized it. And like I said, it's gone through at least, you know, one redesign since the 20 years ago when I bought mine. There may have been more, but the thing's so sturdy. You know, so far I keep thinking, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have a new one? But my old one's working fine. So this could sit right here like that now. But what I do, this is one of my little hacks, and I know some people use all different sorts of things for dust catchers. The last one, you didn't technically need a dust catcher because the aluminum shelf that your pastel and your backing were sitting in, there was an aluminum shelf there. So that caught the dust. Here, it's wide open to the dust. I don't want dust falling down. So this is just the side of a Staples box. Okay, I like the ones that already have a purpose-made corner. So I cut it. And then I take and I have a partial cut. I don't go all the way through. So I can fold it. I put it here. I put this in front of it, and I've got my dust catcher and also my spot that if I want to put, you know, pencils or whatever up there, I can. I tend to throw
Betsy,
everything.
if it was windy, that board's gonna go flying.
It will, which is why.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
It's not gonna go flying anywhere with this big thing here.
Honking.
Truthfully, for many years, I used a bungee, and I just bungeed. I had the bungee go from one side. Well, here's another bungee. This isn't long enough, but you just have it bungeed right here on the side of your board to over here. Even if you're doing oil painting, if I did bigger paintings too, There's also an attachment that you can put through here. And it has like a little, I can put my hand down here so you can see, there's like a little hole right up on top. And I'm sure there's a name for it because I don't paint that huge. I've never used it, but it'll crimp over the top of it. Kind of like the same way I was showing you on the French easel. There's that little piece of metal that comes down and holds your pastel or your board or whatever you're painting on for moving around. So this is what I use nowadays, you know, and I really like it. You know, you can get these. I think I got this in Harbor Freight. Now, I'm showing this on an example with a board where the board should be a little bit bigger because it's too close to the painting. But you know, this is just for example. And let's say you put that all together and you say, oh, that's too high. It's easy enough.
Do you ever put a damp paper towel in that dust catcher? Because that really keeps the dust from flying off. You know, even because if it falls
yeah.
there, it's still dry. I mean, it could still
Yeah.
fly around. But I saw somebody once said, take a paper towel and slightly dampen it and then put
Yes.
it there, and that will hold the dust when it falls on it.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing too, you know, and I think, yeah, I mean, that sounds all right. I'll be quite honest, I probably wouldn't use it because a damp paper towel is gonna
Make
soften your
cardboard.
just, and I've never had that be a problem, but I must admit, I am so dust conscious that I don't use papers that create a lot of dust. You know, there's some papers out there that are wonderful, but I think they create too much dust. Pastel matte, it just doesn't create much dust. It holds on to so much.
Plus, you have a lighter touch.
I do have a lighter touch, that is true.
One of the big
I
things.
always have a lighter touch, but yes.
No, but one of the things that I've discovered is I start to lighten my touch. In fact, I've been going over my pastels with that blue shop towel, which has been instrumental in seeing, like, when if I take off a lot of pastel, it means I put a lot down, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's a helpful way to see how heavy your touch is.
So it just, there's so many things. People use aluminum foil. You can, I mean, you know, I've been out there, it's like, oh my God, I don't have anything. You know, I take a piece of paper out of, you know, my sketchbook and I put it underneath it. You know, any number of things. I've got a whole load of little things that I add to this. So this you've seen. I'll just put it back up there just for fun. That fits a little bit better. These are the other things that I do. Okay. The most important thing, a drink cozy. I have one of my many clips already attached to it. And this does not work with the other things. And I just put that there, and then my drink, oops, let me slide it out further. I don't think it's showing up on the, oh, it's not showing up. There.
I can see it.
Cozy, can you
I
see
see
it?
it. I can see
Okay,
it.
yeah, every once in a while I'm checking my monitors over here. So anyway, that works out well. I already showed you that I have this underneath this. I usually have another one. I put that across the back here. And let's say, of course, that one is gonna fit. And, oh, let's see. Oh, I guess I didn't take anything out to use as a sample. I'll just use this. I go out with two boards. Whoops. I go out with two boards and I keep my paper inside two boards, and they're held together with this. So I get 3 pieces of paper, 2 boards, top and bottom, and this all held together. So I could just I could slip this here and I can use that as another shelf. So you have a lot, look at all this space, of all this space. If you were someone who had boxes, this part might be a little bit more awkward out here because you do need something that's sturdy, but back there you'd be able to, you know, make a shelf with your non-skid, you know, shelf under the carpet, whatever it's called. And put a board down, and you could put your supplies on top of that, and that works out really well. Any questions about, oh yeah, and how do I let me put this back here. How do I, this one's really easy for umbrellas. Okay, I've got this leg, that leg, and this leg. So between the 3 legs, I do have an umbrella that has an attachment, so I can unscrew the actual umbrella section and put it into this bracket device and move it into different positions. And it's got like a little bit of a give to it, but not a lot. So that's really handy. But you can see this one indoors does take up a lot of room. You know, this would, unless you had a big indoor space to paint, this would really take up a lot of floor space underneath it. Now the bungee comes in handy again. Let's see if I can reach through and get it. So my bag that I go out with, I do the same sort of thing. Okay, I loop it through. Let me pull the bag over here. Oh, no, I have this one right here. Okay, so I have this bag, it's got things. So this is just a laptop carrier case. I just loop it through like this. I might have to wrap it around a few times. I put it underneath, right here. And then I attach it. I make sure it's tauter than it is now. It's a little looser. So, you know, on location, I'd make it a little tauter. And the weight of the bag that's underneath, attached by the bungee, also acts as a counterweight to help it. So if in case there is a little bit of a breeze or something, that is weighing it down. So that's similar to the little basket that was on the tripod easel. Let's see, is there anything else about this one? Questions on this one? This one, I think this one's pricey. It's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. You think of it, whatever I paid for it, I've had it for 20 years. So if I paid, let's say if I paid, you know, $200 for it, you know, how much have I had to pay each year to use it? And if I was going to go out and buy a new one, even if it was $400, you know, if I'm planning on using it, you know, a lot, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. I love it.
Betsy, excuse me, did you say that you had to order it directly from Rosalie?
No, I didn't order it from Rosalie. You just go to Tobin's website, Take-it-Easel, and
Tobin?
Tobin Nadu is is Rosie's son, and he is the one who makes. And yeah, but you go to the company called Take-it-Easel. I will tell you, if you put in Take-it-Easel, it may bring you to other styles that are not the Take-it-Easel trademark that he has.
Right.
So like if they send you to Amazon, it's not his. You know, and I mean this is solid wood. You know, all the metal components. Again, I've not had trouble with any of this in the length of time. And this has taken a few knocks, and you know, I've been able to just, you know, put things back together quite easily. The most challenging thing that people find with it is getting used to how to set it up in the beginning so the legs aren't flying all over the place. So that's just a little bit of practice, and once you get your own little routine of how to get these legs out in the correct order and put it up, it's amazing. The other thing that's really nice about this one, the other two, well, I think the French easel is too heavy for a shoulder. I would not put it on my shoulders. It's too heavy. I would carry it in my hand. The tripod, fine for a shoulder. It's not heavy at all. I can stick that in. This here does come with a shoulder strap, but after a few years, he came out with what's called the rifle strap. So it comes across my chest. So with the, you know, the one end is attaching here, and I bring it over my head, and I have it where it looks more like the way you would carry a rifle. Not that I have any firearms, but knowing it from TV, that's the way you would do it. So that's the closest I can come to it, and I believe it is called the rifle strap. So Oh, another thing too, with some of these supplies that you're buying that come with like flimsy shoulder things. Save your old laptop cases. I don't throw out any of the laptop handles. Not the shoulder straps, because those are always sturdy. You know, so they work out fine. Trying to think of anything else. Any other questions?
Do you have a good source for umbrellas? To like a good umbrella that's gonna last and really do the job?
Yeah, I have had the same, let's see if, always, you know, I forgot, let me see if the box is over here. I like my umbrella. Let's see if the box is here. Oh, I found the thing that I can use for big painting though. You know what? I will look it up. I think it is Best Brelly, but I'm not sure exactly if that's it. And it might be in here, but I can't open up the door because this is in the way. So I will put the name of the umbrella. Umbrellas, you know, there's a wide range of prices on umbrellas too. Like I said, umbrellas in windy weather, it's not advisable. It really, you know, it causes more problems than anything for artists, because you really have to hang on tight if it's really windy. If there's a breeze, I'll use it. I have the kind where it's a white exterior and it's I believe it's a silver interior. You want to avoid umbrellas that have color. So if, you know, in the summertime, especially on Cape, you can get umbrellas that stick onto your chairs. You can get umbrellas for, you know, all different sorts of things. But if they have colors on them, if you imagine that light's coming through, and it's usually only one layer of fabric, which means that if you have blue, yellow, green, when the light comes through, some of that color could be, you know, really bouncing off of your actual painting. So try to get something that has either a black or a silver interior. And you know, the first one I had was all white, and I don't remember having any issues with it. But the next one I bought was, you know, I'll get it. I'll put it in the recording when it goes out, so you have the name of the one that I have. But there are many out there. Okay, now, and that's what I mean. This is, hopefully this hasn't been too much of an infomercial thing. The reality of it is I have to talk about what I have, and there are lots of different types of easels, palette boxes, whether it's you know, pastel. This is good for watercolor here too. I mean, there's a lot of extraneous stuff that you don't need, but you could lay out your board here and paint flat if you wanted to. It's really more designed for artists that are going to be working upright. So there's lots on the market. So watch what other people are using, ask questions. You know, there's always advantages or disadvantages, and it's, you know, you want to buy something that's going to suit the style of painting you're doing. So whether you're working upright or you're working flat, that's number one. Number two, are you working, so are you doing plein air, so you're walking a short distance from your car, or you're going to be walking farther? So you want to be careful that you are not carrying around a lot of weight. And then the types of materials that you're going to be bringing out. What kinds of materials are you bringing, and what, besides the easel setup, what else do you need to bring? And you know, I think it's you don't need to, when you go out painting, you do not need to bring everything that you use in the studio. You can really hone it down. And here's a couple of ideas. Okay, one, I do some liquid out there. That's all I need for water, little tiny thing. And I have my bottle of water, I'm drinking it anyway, I pour a little in there. Okay, this is my favorite. Paper towel. You don't need to bring a whole roll of paper towel. Save the end of the rolls, put them in your art studio, and when you need run out of the end of one roll for plein air, go get the end of the other roll, because you're saving a whole load of space. The other thing too is don't waste that tube. So inside the tube, I put my brushes, and they stay protected because they're inside the tube. I also, most of these are for teaching because I don't need more than one. I use kebab skewers for sighting things so that I can measure distances and angles. And on those rare occasions I might need it, I have a ruler in here too. So this paper towel tube works out great. This one here is the one that I take when I travel. This one's really tight. And I put in pipe foam insulation on the inside. I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of hard, but there's pipe foam insulation in there, the same thing that goes around your pipes. And I put my brushes in this. So as I just have to push up the bottom and the brushes come out, they slip back down.
You
And
may
they're
have dropped
nice.
one. Betsy, you may have dropped one.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
one
you know
fell
what?
out, yeah.
It's these silly things. They, yeah, you don't want to poke yourself with those either. Wherever you do with those, put the pointy end down. So my brushes go in and they're all nice and secure in
I know,
there.
that's
What you want to do is, this is ideal, especially if you're acrylic oil or anything. It really does protect your brushes very nicely. I'm sure you have other things too. Although I don't use it a lot, I do it a lot for teaching, but I kind of eyeball it myself now. These viewfinders are great. And the gray is your middle value. So you can base every value off of this, trying to decide if it's light or dark or middle. This is your middle, so you can look through this little hole, and that will help you identify values. More of these. They're always good. What else? I think those are my little tricks that I have. Oh yeah, save your little bottles. Okay. Whether you're going to pour it or spray it, this has got my rubbing alcohol in it, small, compact. I mean, you can go to the dollar store and buy little bottles too, but I just save the ones that I've gotten from the lavender farm up in Harwich. Any questions on that? Any of this?
Betsy, can you use this easel for on rocks?
Well, good question. If it is a rock, if it is a flat surface, what I do, and a rock could be slippery because these legs could move because the bottom of them is, well, it's not the same thing, but I'm just going to use this as an example. See the bottom of this right here? Well, it could be the same thing. I'm not positive. See this here? This pointy edge right here?
Right.
It's blunt. I'm not going to get a cut on it. But if that's on a rock, it could slide. What you can do is I have smaller pieces of this non-skid stuff, and I put that down, and it helps stop it from sliding. What's really neat for those people that, and I haven't been out painting well, we haven't had snow down here in ages, but you can buy snowshoes for these easels. It is the coolest thing, and it's like so smart. So you can buy this little that you put down. It's like a pad that your easel. And actually thinking of it, you know what? I hadn't thought of it until now. You could probably use that for indoors. I don't know if you could use it on rocks. You have to be careful on rocky surfaces. Let's say if you were up in Maine. I am usually looking for areas that have like a little bit of that moss or dirt that's between surfaces, whether it's a rock or a pavement. And I'm always sticking my 3 legs into a corner of something that's soft, as opposed to actually putting it on top of, let's say, a brick in a garden. I try to stick it into the little
In between.
space that's in between.
You could do that with rocks too.
Yes, you could do it with rocks too, absolutely. So yeah, that was a good question, because that could be problematic. You just don't want the legs slipping. Clearly, they're not going to go far because they're all 3. This is all connected by these braces here, but it could still move a little bit. So yeah, that's it. Any other?
But the ends of those pegs are pointed and sharp. Is that right?
Well, they're not. I shouldn't use the word sharp, but it's blunt. But, I mean, if this was gonna, if I was, you know, inside doing it on a wood floor or linoleum floor, it would probably leave a scratch if it moved around.
Yeah, I'm
Even though
thinking
it's
of it
not
for out-
sharp. You know,
mostly.
I mean, I just would not wanna do that. The other thing you can do inside is just throw down like a tea towel, something that, you know, it's enough of friction, so it's not gonna move, but it's not gonna scrape the floor.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? How about people that have painted outdoors? What do you use? What would you suggest? Are there any materials? And I know some of you have actually really made some really nice, you have adapted things without spending a whole load of money. And like I said, when I first started, I had the French easel, I had a TV tray, you know, and everything came out on the TV tray. And I think I probably had bags, you know, from the grocery store that I shoved everything in. I wish I could
True,
remember
because
that.
you know, sometimes if we put pressure on ourselves for the gear, then we don't get anything done. And, you know, for example, one could set goals, intentions with plein air that don't go all the way to actually painting an easel. Like, you know, you could obviously take your reference photos, your sketches, your value studies. So that's kind of more, because admittedly, to me, I can't, it's too hard to motivate to get everything packed because, you know, I admit it, you know, and I haven't been able to come up. I have a bag that I can just go with for anything that doesn't involve the pastels and the easel, but, and also too, like my pastels are so perfectly organized in my studio. I really don't want to disturb them, you know, I would, you know, but, and every time I buy a plein air set, I end up integrating them into my studio setup. So long story short, I haven't made it to the easel point yet with the plein air, but you never know. I'm here today.
That's
Just
it.
being
And the
honest.
thing of it is that it's more that you're actually doing it than having the gear.
Yeah.
Okay, so you saw that over 20 years of doing this,
Yeah.
probably a little more than, no, it's probably more like 23, 24 years of doing this. I have adapted and changed. And I do leave, you know, I leave my bag set and ready to go. So I can't pull this guy because I wedged him down already. So let me just go that before I knock everything over. One of them that I like using is a laptop bag.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, everything's in there. Well, some of the stuff I took out to show you guys, but everything is right there.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the one that goes away on an airplane with me because it packs up really nice and small. I've got a little plastic bag with a kit of things because, believe it or not, you know, you get somewhere, it's like, oh, I don't have the tape or I forgot something. So I leave that all in there. So this guy's all ready to go. It looks as though, oh yeah, that was, well, that must have been pastels I was using for something. And I never took them out. So that works out well. I do have a big bag that I do tend to take when I'm teaching because it's kind of like that, let's make a deal bag. What do you need? I got it, sort of thing. When I'm actually painting on my own and I'm not teaching, I do not bring a big bag, or if I bring that bag, I've emptied things out of it. But Lisa made a really good point. You're more likely to paint outdoors if you have everything ready and set to go. I'm lucky. I have 2 different types of easel boxes that I can take out with me. Well, I actually have a third if you count the one that's really small. But you know,
Plus, you're in a part
I
of
didn't always,
Massachusetts.
I didn't
And you're in
always
a,
have
yeah,
that.
and you're in a part of Massachusetts, Betsy, that has several plein air groups, which is nice.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm in kind of, I call it like the Death Valley part of Massachusetts. You know, so and you know, for somebody like me that it's harder to motivate if there's a group thing, you know, like if I lived in the Cape, I think I would do lots more plein air because there's, you know, you do it, then there's a group kind of at the Cape Cod Culture, one of the
Right.
Cape Cod places
Yeah,
that has
yeah.
a group. And then I think there's yet another group maybe you
There is.
belong to. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few of them, and actually, let me take this moment to talk about that because if you are a member of Falmouth Art Center, they have a group that goes out on Mondays. They primarily stick in the Falmouth area. Sometimes they move a little bit out of Falmouth, but almost everything's in Falmouth. whether you have to be a member of the Falmouth Arts Center, I would think so, because that's where you get your emails from. That's a great group. I don't go out with them a lot. I tend to go out more painting on my own, either with myself or a friend, or I go with the Cape Cod Art Center.
Yeah,
And
they have a great
basically, the
group.
reason for that is because they go all over the Cape. And I like going to new places and seeing places I didn't know about for painting. Whether or
Your
not you have to
email
be
is
a member, that
outstanding.
part I
Yeah.
can't remember, but you do have to register and pay $10, and that's for the whole plein air
Yeah,
season.
you have to be a member plus the $10, but like her emails are really organized, like at the
Oh,
beginning
yes,
of the month,
yes, yes, yes.
she releases the 4 places they're going to, where's their parking, is their bathroom, you
Yep.
know, what's it like to get your car in, that's a good, you know, and then they post their stuff on a Facebook page. Yeah, I signed up and I paid all the money and then I never went, but it was,
Yeah, no,
but I
they are,
lived vicariously through them. They go to places like, you know, Race Point all the way up to Sandwich. Yeah, they're all over the
they do,
place.
they go all over from,
Yeah.
yes, they do. And what's
Yeah.
nice about that too is, they have 2 days. They go on Mondays and they go on Tuesdays.
Yeah,
So you can, and sometimes the place is repeated on Monday and on Tuesday, but sometimes they have that place on Monday doesn't show up on Tuesday for a few weeks or vice versa. So you can, in the course of a week, try, 2 different places with a group, and do not be hesitant to join either of these groups, because there is everything from novices, people that don't even know what to bring, to people that have been painting outdoors all the time. Both groups are super friendly. The end of both groups, they have a very informal, very positive critique.
Mhm.
And it's, even if you don't want to show what you painted, if you're just, someone who's a little bit, you don't want to show your work, that's okay. Stick around and listen to what people have to say. And then you do get a chance to see what sorts of materials and supplies people are bringing out. So I didn't really talk much about watercolor, except for saying which easels you could lie things flat on, but a watercolor artist is going to have a different perspective of what you need. And some people prefer to sit. Now I stand. Oh, I didn't bring it out, but I do have one of those little triangle stools. So if my feet are bothering me,
Yeah.
it happens occasionally, I can sit, but I don't like sitting. I like standing. But this easel is, you can drop it, but this is about as far as you can drop it. So it's not really compatible to sitting. The 2 other easels, you can drop the legs of that French easel down quite low, and you could sit. I think the front legs might be in your way. And the tripod easel, you can drop that too. But again, if you're someone who likes to sit, sometimes people sit with their, and this is really one of the best ways to start. Show up with your materials. Have a cloth on your lap, so you don't get all messed up. But you can work sitting. If you want to sit, have a little TV tray, or, well, maybe not a TV tray, you'd be too low, but some sort of tray. Have your supplies there. Sit with this on your lap, and you can work. So I'm showing you the materials and the supplies because I have them. But when you go and to any of these groups, you're going to see a nice variety of, what do I have in my house, and I'm taking that to
Betsy?
video painting.
I
Yep.
have a question.
Yep.
Betsy? Oh, you first.
No, go ahead. I
Margie.
was just gonna say what a good experience I've had with that plein air group out of the Barnstable Art Center.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
people are super friendly, all different levels. I made myself a very kind of homemade outfit, but now I have kind of a routine because I go almost every week. And so the night before I just gather things up, and so it gets a lot easier over time. I have sometimes, especially early and late in the year, occasionally I've showed up and I've been like well, once or twice I've been the only person who showed up.
That's
Or
happened to me.
Sometimes there are one or two other people but you know, other days there are lots of people and it's, I mean, it's just always fun.
It is, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would encourage people. There's also an Eastham group that
Oh.
they paint a lot in the National Seashore.
Oh,
And
right. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yes.
they have a Facebook page where they just have a list of their sites
Perfect.
called, I don't know, Eastham Artists Guild or Eastham Plein Air Painting. They go on Tuesday, so it overlaps with the other group, but you know, sometimes they're closer to me, so I've gone out with them a few times.
And then it's all about the location. If you're someone that likes to, you know,
Yeah.
you just really want to be painting, you know, something that's a little bit like gardens or open space, you know, between now we've also got the Eastham painters is, you know, there's 3 different groups. You can see where they're going and, you know, go
Yeah.
to their location.
That was my question. There, you were talking about the Falmouth group?
Yep.
And there was a second group in there and I didn't know, I didn't catch the name of the second
Oh.
group.
That was the Cape Cod Art Center
Ah, okay.
group, and that is the one, the Cape Cod Art Center is the one on 6A in Barnstable.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And they're the
Yeah.
one that they go all over the Cape. It sounds
Okay.
like Eastham painters, they stay primarily up in the lower end of the
Or
Cape.
more
Okay.
so, yeah, the
Okay.
outer,
So
Yeah.
do you need to be
Outer
a
Cape.
member? Do you need to be a member of the Cape Cod Art Center?
You do, but it's not that expensive.
Yeah, and it's just $10 to get the, you know, the email. And like I'm telling you, as Lisa mentioned too, is, you know, they start next week on Tuesday.
That's
And they
wonderful.
go through definitely September, and I think they do a little bit the beginning of October too.
That's really wonderful.
It is,
I-
it's wonderful. It's
So
with the
there's-
$10. Yeah,
Betsy, there's
Gonna be
somebody
on
who
the Cape
leads,
in May?
leads the group.
okay, just a second. Who was before Deborah? Was somebody else?
I had one other thing that I wanted to ask you about.
Okay, yeah,
Well, I think this information about those groups is great because I'm gonna be on the Cape for the first time in years.
oh,
Now,
great.
since the
This
pandemic.
Lori? Am I
Yes,
listening? Oh, okay.
sorry.
No, that's all right, that's all right.
So, you know, for a week in May, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm inspired by you showing the different things that different easels that you've got. I have a Plein Air Pro watercolor easel setup, and it's got the part on the tripod, your Gorilla tripod, where you've got the bubble and everything.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, okay, so it has because it's a watercolor setup, it's got a basic easel part that you can put paper on and paint there. And I'm looking at how you've modified and what you've done and with the Gorilla box, no, with the Heilemann boxes, having the 2 holes that allow an easel to go in so, you know, I'm really curious to do a little research and find out about modifying the Plein Air Pro tripod for an pastel setup. So this has been really helpful and thank you
Good.
very much.
Oh, good, good, good. And one thing I will say, even though you're not talking about a Holloman box, the people at home, and it's a family-run place, they're very helpful. So let's say, you know, they could even point you in the right direction, you know, or get in touch with the company where you have your easel. But you know, having that attachment that goes right into the box that
Yeah.
creates the easel part is
Right.
really super handy. They have 2 different sizes. Holland has 2 different sizes. I think or do they have 3? I do not have the one that's for the really big piece of art because I knew this is what I use for when I'm painting large anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, good. Well, I'm glad that was helpful. Yeah, different mediums.
Betsy,
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. Mary Jane?
I've done watercolor painting outdoors with I have a French easel that I did acrylic painting out. And I've sampled doing with the Heilemann box
Yeah.
and easel. I've simple that I do have to sit down when I'm working with these things. And well, my challenge is now trying to find a way to condense some of the hand pastels to be able to take those on an outdoor.
Right. Do you have your
So-
pan pastels in the tray?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's handy. You know, and seriously, I can picture that in a laptop. Babe.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Not the
yeah, you
carrying
could,
part would
because-
be sitting down at an easel, which I would have to have either angled or flat.
Right, yeah. Well, like I said, I know I've seen watercolor artists out there sitting and painting. And I can picture them with, you know, the materials on the side and on the lap. But I do know some people do have easels. This one does not drop.
No,
This-
no.
But the other easels
Yeah.
do drop. They drop
Yeah,
lower.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
can have a, you know, a regular chair height, not even the sand
Mhm,
beach
mhm.
chairs, but a regular chair height. But I'll keep an eye out on that because
Just if you see other people combining stuff, I'd just be curious. Thank you.
yeah, definitely. No trouble at all. Yeah, definitely. And I think Deborah, did you have a question?
Oh, I just, so the Cape Cod Art Center is in Barnstable. What is the one that we go to that's, I think it's in Falmouth? What is
That's-
that called?
That's the Falmouth Art Center. That's the one over on Gifford Street.
Right, I know that, but I think there's another place I'll have to think about that we go to.
Yeah.
Talking about something hall, the something hall in Falmouth?
No, it's where Dawn had her classes that
Yeah, that
summer.
was-
Cape Cultural Center.
Oh,
Well,
thanks.
Dawn's been at the Cultural Center, but she's also been at Falmouth Art Center.
It's
Yeah.
the Cultural
But the
Center.
Cultural Center of Cape Cod is the one that's on Old Main Street in Yarmouth.
They don't
And
have a
that's
place.
right near
yes.
Bass River Bridge. That's where the pastel painters of Cape Cod. Deadline's
Right.
the end of this month if you're planning on entering the big show. That is where the pastel painters have in recent number of years had all of their workshops there.
Oh, thank you. It's, yes, Yarmouth.
That's the
Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah.
I want to mention on September 7th, in Ogunquit, Maine, every year, it's up to September, it's an extraordinary plein air event on Perkins Cove. So dozens and dozens of professional grade artists gather along the marginal way and they're painting. And
Yeah.
there's tons of people walking along, and then they have like an award at the end. So this year it's September 7th.
September 7th, good.
Yeah, I
good.
drove all the way up last year and my UPS sent me to a parking lot at the end of a very long one way. And when I tried to back out with my truck, it went off the road and so I never got to the event. It dangled over a cliff. I had to have AAA flatbed me all the way home, 2 hours.
Oh,
But this
okay.
very nice man who's on the board of directors at the Government Art Museum invited me to sit on his deck. He actually gave me a free t-shirt and we sat there for like 2 hours. He has an ocean view and we had a wonderful time. So this year I'm going to bring my Prius. I should have known because those narrow little streets, but
And there's
adventure.
lots of plein air things going on. The Cape's got a few of them.
Yeah.
One that's coming to mind is the Osterville Library has one.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that
Yeah.
I can't remember the date, you know, I am going to that one. There might be a few other people here that
Yeah.
are doing one too. That's all mediums and that's for
Okay.
the library. And then there's the one at Cuddy Hunk.
Oh, yeah. You go to that.
That one's fun. I've done that several years and
Get to
that's a
though.
blast. And that's just like a totally unusual setting. You know, going over to Cuddy Hunk, it's like stepping back in time. But yeah, you keep your eyes peeled because there's lots, don't even have to be on Cape. Off Cape, there's, you know, I know the Central, oh my gosh, it's 6:25. Central Mass Pastel Society, they've got a couple of very active artists that teach and go out painting. Maine has a group. New Hampshire, I don't know if New Hampshire has a group or if they kind of collaborate with Maine.
There is a group in Central Mass that goes every Monday,
Yeah.
but I work. They're
So-
very organized. And then there's the sketching groups, like the one I sent you, the Providence one. They go to really
Yeah,
nice. like
yeah, and the Urban
Anthony's,
Sketchers, Boston,
Theaters,
there's
the
quite a
urban
bit.
sketchers.
So it's
yeah.
just a matter, sometimes it's worth just looking up the different art groups that are in your area. And, look under events or look under instruction or, just see what they have in their menu. Events would probably be the first place to look and see what they've got going on. And Facebook is really good for sharing a lot of information. And I didn't realize how late it had gotten. Thank you for hanging in here. I just want to find out if there's any other questions or comments.
Thank
No,
you very
but the new easel is $449, so keep yours.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you, if someone was really a plein air painter and they really wanted to go out in all different sorts of terrain. I mean, and this, this you can go hiking with it. It's on your back. I mean, you don't want to be carrying a lot of other things. I'd probably just have my board and all else I'd have to do is have a larger version of this, but I just have to have that and I could go out and bottle of water. too.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Betsy. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks so much
Betsy.
for coming. This was great. You're gonna be getting notice tonight about the next virtual paint along. It's going to be painting reflections and puddles. So you're gonna get that. It's due to go out tonight.
Oh,
And that's
good.
Next Thursday.
Yay.
So, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much
Good.
for coming and
Okay.
Thanks, Betsy. Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Betsy.
Thank
Bye,
you. and good
everybody.
night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.